Welcome to another edition of Health Focus on GhanaWeb TV. Today we are talking about erectile dysfunction. My name is Eliot Nwete and I have with me Dr. Abigail Gasu Echampon. She is a medical practitioner with Manake Health Center, Ohio, United States of America. Hello.
Hey.
Doc, one of the most popular drugs and products on the market today is a black pill.
Oh yeah?
And it is meant to enhance guys perform well in bed. That is leading us to our topic for discussion today, which is erectile dysfunction.
Yeah.
What does it mean when we say someone has erectile dysfunction? Is it that the penis does not get up, it does not get erected, or it doesn't perform at all? What is erectile dysfunction?
So one thing I always say is that the good Lord is a wise Lord, a wise God. So the male and the female. A female just has a hole.
Okay.
She doesn't have to do anything. And she can just have sex and procreate. With the guy, it almost seems like the whole universe has to orchestrate for you. Everything has to come together to make things work for you, to get an erection. So we're talking about the environment. We're talking about your stress levels.
Okay.
We're talking about your hormone levels. We're talking about the muscles in your penis.
Okay.
And we're talking about your attraction to whoever you're going to do that with.
Wow.
I've not even mentioned all of it. So much goes into it. So there are times where a guy will say, you know, I saw this beautiful lady that I like, or my wife, and I can't even sustain an erection. I can't. My erection will come, and then within 2 minutes, it goes down. That is an erectile dysfunction. Or they will say, well, I was able to sustain an erection, but the moment I was about to penetrate, everything went down.
Is that to say that there are different stages of erectile dysfunction, or there are different types of erectile dysfunction?
I would say there are different causes of erectile
But
dysfunction.
not types.
Levels.
Okay.
Yeah. So erectile dysfunction, it's a term that defines anything that does not help you sustain and complete a sexual activity.
Okay.
You know, the beginning to completion, you are not able to. Some people cannot start, on your marks, get set, Pete, they will start, but then 2 meters down one follow.
I now get the attraction bit of it. So how common is erectile dysfunction among men?
It is very common. It really is very common. And like I said, there's so many factors that plays a role. Okay. For an older adult, obviously nature is playing a role there too. You know, a 16-year-old cannot, a 70-year-old cannot compare to a 16-year-old. Okay, because their machine is working fine. With a 16-year-old, their hormone levels, everything is playing a big role there. Okay, the attraction, they want to investigate, they want to do things. A 70-year-old, your hormone is down, and you know your blood is not flowing very well. The muscles that helps with the penis to be erect is also not working very well. Let's
focus on the youth. Yes. Because that is a topic of interest to myself, and then I know to a lot of people because of what the market reports are saying. What are the common causes or primary causes of erectile dysfunction among the youth? Okay,
so first of all, I want to explain the process of erection.
Okay.
Okay, so for an erection to take place, the penis has blood vessels in there.
Okay.
That blood vessels has to be filled with blood. And when the blood gets into that blood vessels, the blood has to stay there until completion. Penis doesn't have a bone.
Yeah.
Okay. So the problem happens if the blood goes in and doesn't stay and diffuses.
Okay.
Sometimes the blood vessels are very porous, become very porous. We call it venous leak, in such a way that the blood goes in and then the blood leaks out of the blood vessels. So then it doesn't work very well. And then also there is a muscle in between your scrotum, okay? And I usually call it the tank muscle. So when the blood gets into the veins in the penis, that tank muscle is supposed to like squeeze and keep the blood there so you can fire.
Okay.
So if those things don't happen, then it's a problem. So some of the reasons why you can have problems like that, number one cause of it, what I know, is diseases. High blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol. Those things can affect your erectile problems. It can affect how much blood is going in there.
Okay.
So we take diabetes, for instance. When somebody's suffering from diabetes, they start having nerve problems. So sometimes we call something neuropathy, meaning that your nerves are not as sensitive anymore. The penis has nerves. So there's no sensitivity going there for them to even release any chemicals to help the blood vessels open. So it's not going to work, especially when you have diabetes.
By far, all the causes you've mentioned seem to be more of biological. That's social chemical. Sometimes, as a guy, you can have an erection. For those of us who are so much into sports, you can have an erection and then you hear your neighbor shout, "Go, Madrid has scored," and all of a sudden everything goes
down.
What happens in that process? Because you've mentioned that for erectile dysfunction to happen, it is when the penis erects and then the blood is not able to make a stand and then it falls. In that situation, how would you explain? What would you say caused that?
So, you know, for you to complete a sexual activity, okay, you have to focus. Your mind has to be there. You cannot be thinking about your pockets or the football and still complete that thing to your maximum best. Okay. That is why with guys, it takes everything of them to try and have a sexual act. So the moment you get distracted, okay, now the blood has to evenly distribute. So if you're thinking, you need some blood to help your brain to go. So it's taking away from the penis. That's why they always say it's a kotinim nyansa. Yeah, so for you to be able to complete a sexual act, you almost have to lose your mind. Okay. To focus on that, to be able to complete it. Okay. Or let's just say, you know, you're going to the bedroom with a lady who is not very clean. Now that smell hits you. The moment it puts you off, then it's like your focus changes again. It's like, oh,
smell is it.
This is and then you can't complete it. Now, I wouldn't categorize that as an erectile dysfunction, though.
How then are we able to distinctly tell what erectile dysfunction is? I'm saying this because men's sexual health is not something that most men like to talk about and would want to approach a medical practitioner about it. But then at a point, we have to go. So when do you tell the difference between this is a problem and this is because I'm not paying attention?
I think that when you realize that all the players to help you, the cheerleaders to help you is there, but you cannot perform. So your environment is good, you're attracted to the female, the time is right, condition is, everything is right, maybe 4 a.m. in the morning, and you go and try and do something.
And it's still not working.
And it's still not working. You have to take a phone and call me.
No, you have to take a phone and then...
Yes, there's a problem.
And that is very serious because I'm a guy. I'm in my youthful stage, as you can see, and I talk to my guys a lot about this kinds of conversation. And sometimes they tell you that, oh, I met this particular lady and everything was on point. And then I met this similar lady. I was so excited to meet her. I finally had my chance at her, and then when we got to the room, I couldn't perform. Yes. Such a case. How does a person treat it? And then how does a person even come to the hospital to talk about it? Because from my point of view, I'm looking at it like, or maybe the person was overwhelmed by the beauty of the lady. The person was too excited, and because of that, they couldn't function. Is that right assumption?
Yeah, I think it's a right assumption. Sometimes you put undue pressure on yourself. Maybe you feel like that meat is too high than you, you know, so you want to really, like what planning game, no, you want to really impress, and then you go and it's like you fall below the bar. It's that pressure you put on yourself, such a way that your mind is divided. It's either, you know, I'm putting pressure, what do I do? How can I, you know, it's like you are dividing too much attention. Focus. You're lacking focus. Focus on it. You know, don't even think about the status of the woman or whatever. What you're about to do is what you need to do. That's how you were created. Focus on it and finish it.
Let's move to the treatment of erectile dysfunction. We've been able to identify that with erectile dysfunction, there are biological causes, there are social causes as well. How do we treat it? And when do we bring in these aphrodisiacs that people take, the black pill, I don't want to mention any brand here. Yeah. So, you know, for me, let's talk about a youth. Okay. The youth, okay? So if, let's say, a 30-year-old comes to me and say, I have erectile problem. Okay. You have to do like a lab work to check for some type of diseases. Check for their blood pressure. It's likely something in that area causing it. Okay? And if that is fine, check the economics of the person too. Here, sure, you can't work. You can't. It will cause erectile dysfunction. But the main thing for the youth is the diseases. One of the biggest things also that I've found out in the youth is cycling. What does that mean?
From morning to night. I'm sorry, Aboboya people. I'm sorry. No. Seriously. You know, you're putting so much pressure on that testicles, that penis, in a way that it gets to a point you lose the nerves into sensitivity, and sharp. So a lot of cyclists have erectile problems.
When you talk about cycling, is it when you paddle or bicycle, motor bicycle?
It's when you sit and put that pressure directly on that thing.
Wow.
Yeah, especially if the seat is so hard. It will kill the nerves.
That is very interesting. I never thought cycling could lead to erectile dysfunction. You can imagine the number of people who have caused themselves to experience erectile dysfunction because of cycling and because they have no knowledge about it. Let's go for a quick break. When we come back, we'll look at specific treatment for erectile dysfunction. Also look at how psychology plays a role and how you can overcome erectile dysfunction using the psychological means. Welcome back to Health Focus on GhanaWeb TV. Before we went for that short break, we realized that if you do not have money, it can cause erectile dysfunction. If you ride bicycle, it can cause erectile dysfunction. Doc, for those who missed the first section of it, can you retouch on that, how economy and then how cycling can cause erectile dysfunction before we delve into the treatment of erectile dysfunction?
Absolutely. So the economy is, okay, you are hungry. You have to pay your rent.
Yes.
You maybe, God forbid, but you have a sick mom that needs money for medication. You have all these things, but you don't have the money to do what you got to do. You don't have the job or whatever. And now you have to go and, do the game. Okay. It's like the pressure the woman is even putting on you in the first place. You can't even do it. You know, after this, I have to come up with 500 CDs for this woman. How are you going to finish that game?
Yeah.
Unless you lose your mind.
Which will be very difficult.
If you lose your mind, you can finish the act.
Yeah.
But if you still want to keep your mind, then you're going to have some dysfunction whilst doing the process. Now, when it comes to cycling, then when I say that, it's because I'm talking about the direct pressure or the impact you put on your testicles. That kills the nerves, and especially those that wear those Speedos, those tight supporters and all that. It puts too much pressure on it. you know, as a guy, I will advise just don't wear those tight underwears, those whitey tighties. Don't wear those. Let it breathe.
Okay.
But when you're putting so much pressure, you know, the reason why the nerves are so essential when it comes to penis and erection is that you have to feel sensation. If a female hold your penis, you should be able to feel some sensation for it to erect.
Yeah.
But if you don't have any sensation there, how is it going to work? It's not going to. So you protect the nerve around it. Now, one of the things is also people that have like low back pain.
Okay.
Because all the human nerves is originating from your spine. So from your neck down to your butt cheek there. So if you are having problem with that spine and you're having pain, sometimes it can cause inflammation in a way that it pinches on nerves.
Okay.
That is coming out of your spine.
Okay.
Now, some of the nerves come from the back and goes into the penis. So when you are pinching on that nerve, you're killing the penis too, because that nerve endings, that sensitivity is not there anymore. You know, you'll be performing the act, but there's no sensitivity, so obviously you can't sustain.
Oh, that is very interesting.
Yeah.
I'm for myself, I'm just learning that a whole lot of things goes into having an erection.
Yes.
But how do we treat it? I want you to break it down into the medical aspects of it, and if there are social treatments for erectile dysfunction. How do we go about it?
So first of all, prevention is the key.
Okay.
Okay? Prevention is the key, because once the good Lord put you on this earth, He gave you everything fresh, everything new. All your spare parts all your parts are new. Now, the problem is when you don't take good care of yourself and you get to that point,
Okay.
yes, we can help, but it will not be 100%. We can help by giving you pills that will help to open those blood vessels for the blood to get in.
Okay.
But how long can you do that? You know, lack of exercise. Now, there is an exercise called Kegel exercises.
Yeah.
The females, they've made it so that it's like only females. The guys need to do Kegel exercise too, because you tighten that tank muscle that holds the blood in. So prevention is key. But if unfortunately you get to that level, okay, then you need money to seek treatment.
Isn't that funny?
Yes.
Lack of money causes erectile dysfunction, and
Now
then you need money to come out of it.
Yes. So it's a lose-lose situation if you don't have the money, you know. But when you have the money and you go to the doctor, there is this therapy we do. We call the shockwave therapy.
Okay.
What it does is a machine that uses sound energy. And that sound energy, we use it to go around the penis to induce inflammation. Now, when you do induce inflammation in the human body, okay, it means that the blood cells that has the healing factor, they get the sense that, okay, there is inflammation going on here. Let's run there and go and fight it. So what we try to do with that machine is induce inflammation in the penis so that the blood can rush there to cause healing.
And in the process,
it can help. Yes, that's when it, or we just give you the pills.
When is it too dangerous to take the pills? Because you hear in the news that this man took this particular pill and then died during the process or during the act. When is it dangerous to take it?
So those pills, they are vasodilators. When I say vasodilators, is, you know, they dilate, they open up your vessels.
Okay.
So vessel, dilate, make it bigger. Okay. So it opens the blood vessels so that the blood can go in. So a vasodilator can also drop your blood pressure.
Okay.
So if you don't have high blood pressure already, or you're taking blood pressure medication and you take another vasodilator, your blood pressure bottoms out, becomes so low, and you can collapse. So when pressure in your body is not circulating at a normal pressure, you're going to lose blood going to your brain. You can lose blood going to your heart. You can lose blood going to your kidneys. So they have side effects to it too. That's why prevention is key.
Is it safe to say that people who are on blood pressure medicines are not advised to take any tablet, any pill, any drug that would help solve erectile dysfunction?
Yeah, so the thing is, not really. There are people that take blood pressure medication and can also take those pills as well, prescribed. You can just go to the pharmacy because the dosage counts.
Okay.
So if, let's say, you are on 10 milligrams of maybe amlodipine or Norvasc, okay, and then you go and take 20 milligrams of maybe Cialis or Viagra or something like that, you can bottom yourself out because one is reduced, both of them are reducing your blood pressure. You don't have any pressure, but you want to go and have sex. You're going to die. Yeah.
What message do you have for the young people, especially who do not have need for sexual enhancement drugs, but want to take it because they want to perform? There are a lot of brands on the internet, on social media platforms, Snapchat to be specific. People say, take this drug to help you perform 1 hour, to help you perform 2 hours, and all that.
So with the youth, first of all, I would say stop watching pornography.
Okay.
Because some of the things that the youth want to mimic is because they saw it on the internet.
Yeah.
It's not normal. That is acting. Okay? A guy's with a woman for 20 hours or 10 hours, I'm just exaggerating.
Yeah.
It's not normal. Okay? So try not to meet that expectation. You do not need to start taking those medications. At least wait till you're like 70 years old. If you start taking those medications, your body becomes used to it. And then you don't have the medicine and you can't. Yes, and then you can't. Let your body is so effective. It can do whatever. Learn how to use your body and try not to be meeting all these pornographic expectations. Or finding a lady that wants you to go like, no, they'll kill you.
They would kill you. To those watching, do not feed the habit and then the need of any lady who expects you to go 20 hours, who expects you to go 1 hour. According to Doc, they would simply kill you. But Doc, how does psychology play a role in solving erectile dysfunction? Is there a psychological treatment for it? Since because we've come to identify that sometimes erectile dysfunction can be as a result of social and then psychological reasons.
Yeah. So number one, psychological is not having money in your pocket.
Okay.
A man, your power is your money and your penis. So you have to try and get that money.
Yeah.
Okay, that's why a man who has erectile dysfunction but has more money will catch all the chicks. Okay, so that tells you how powerful that money is too.
Yeah.
So work hard, get that money. I'm not saying go and get $1 million. Get one that you can use to make your life a little comfortable. Yeah. That's it. And then also eating healthy. Okay, exercising. Okay. Stop masturbation. Okay, because masturbation is not natural sex. Okay. When you continue to masturbate and then you see the vagina, you don't even know what to do with it unless you take it out and do it. So that is one of the killers too. Okay. Oh, that's one of the causes of sexual dysfunction. Doing masturbation can cause that. So
let's talk about policy for a quick period. Now, we have the youth are consuming these aphrodisiacs and then sexual enhancement drugs because they are flooded on the market. How do we solve this? Or do you think that it's about time maybe the Ghana Standard Authority and then the Food and Drug Authority explore some of these drugs to see their potency and then regulate them?
I don't think so. I feel like the onus is on you as an individual to educate yourself because our society is driven by money.
Yeah.
If somebody is making money selling poison to you, they don't care about you. They care about they getting their money. Now, in this world, we live, it's like an animal kingdom.
Yeah.
Some people have to feed on some people to live. So if you're going to allow yourself to be the little fish in the sea, so be it. The sharks will swallow you. So you can't blame, the ocean for having all those. No, you have to blame yourself. Why are you deciding to be a small fish for the shark to eat you? Advise yourself. I am no longer going to take these medications. You're buying it, you're killing yourself, somebody's getting money. And that same money, you're going to need it to go and repair your stuff anymore. So you got to think.
4 lifestyle choices for the youth. Then we bring this show to an end.
4 lifestyle choices is work and get money. Work and get money. That's 2, okay? Yeah. Eat healthy.
Okay.
Stop watching pornography.
Okay.
And stop, putting yourself, trying to meet certain expectations. Oh, one of the things that I will also advise, the ladies also have to help the males, okay? Don't go and trying to pull their self-esteem down, insulting them about their performance and all that. That's not going to help them. It's going to make them even more insecure. Okay. So, yeah.
Thank you very much. This has been very educative. I wish we would meet another time and then very soon. But to my listeners, the show is held focus on GhanaWeb TV. My name is Elliot Aitinweti. I did this with Dr. Abigail Gasu Echampon. She is a medical practitioner with Mana Health Center in Ohio, USA. On this segment also, or on this episode, 3 things you must learn to fight erectile dysfunction. You must have money, and you must have money. Also, our ladies must help the gentlemen by encouraging them, not discouraging them about their sexual life and all that. And eat well. Do not self-medicate. That's how we bring today's show to an end. Let's meet another time.